all the issues that are going on, the world is literally going out of their way to try to hide the most obvious answer. And that the biggest thing, what we need, the missing piece in who we are, the missing piece in anything is really God. And they're going out of their way to ignore what is self-evident, to ignore what is the obvious choice. You know, and like the more they see a problem, okay, we got these issues, we got, problems in school, so you know what, we need to take, prayer out of school. And so then there's more issues now. And then the more issues they have, the more they try to get rid of God. And then the more, because they're getting rid of God, the more issues now that we have because it's all falling apart because everything was connected by him. And so the more issues, the more they get rid of him. Then the more issues, the more they get rid of him. And it just keeps on going. They are literally going out of their way to hide the obvious answer. And this is what we need. It's him. It's Jesus. That's the missing piece that honestly we used to have, We used to have. And because of that, I actually wanted to share with you, it's in your bulletin and it's in there every week, but I actually wanted to share with you out loud our mission statement, our purpose, because for that reason, I felt like God put it in our hearts and us as the leaders that started this church to be that counterculture to all that that's going on. When the world is trying to shut up and try to hide the obvious and try to put, snuff out the light of God, us as a church, we're trying to be the opposite. I'm like, nah, he's the answer. This is what we need to look to. He's the one we need to reach out to. So I want to, this part isn't actually, I don't know, I'm not sure if it's in your bulletin, but it's the little intro to it. I'm going to read it. It says here, we believe as a church, it's part of our mission statement, we believe that the solution to any problem in this world is found in the one true God, and that he desires to use regular people to resolve real issues. It's him. He's the answer that we cannot ignore. And the cool thing about that is he chooses to, participate. He chooses us to be able to participate with him. Now, let me show you what that means, though. I got this baseball glove for a reason. A glove on its own, if it's on the ground, is not going to be able to catch this ball. Okay, a glove is just a glove. Okay, it's empty. Us as human beings, we're that glove. Okay, if it's just us, more than likely, if we try to resolve any issue, more than likely we make things worse than actually make things better if we try to do things on our own, And so the glove by itself is a glove, but when somebody puts their hand in the glove, now this glove can do things, and whatever you throw at it, this thing's going to catch it, right? And now, is the glove catching the ball? Yeah, but why? Because of what's inside. And that's when we have God in us, he uses us, just like I'm using this glove to catch the ball. And I believe that's what we believe as a church, and that's what honestly I believe in all of you, that God can use you as his glove. By yourself you're empty. But when he's filled with you and all of those talents that he's put inside of you, now you can become effective because it's his power in you. It's his power in you. Put here our mission. Our mission is to see people changed by the power of a real God in their lives, and as a result, have these same people make a difference in others. God wants to use us to make a difference and make things better. Show the next one. I think the next one's the purpose. Our purpose is to bring hope to others by giving a testimony to the truth of God. Okay, in a world where truth is distorted, hidden, and ignored. And that testimony of the truth, how we bring hope by testimony, our vision is to give that testimony of the truth by the lifestyles we live. When you say one thing, it's like, yeah, I believe this, that's one thing. But when you say it and you back it up with a life that's living it, then there's something to that. That's powerful. I heard once that atheists don't really hate God. Atheists hate fake Christians. Because that's one of the biggest turnoffs for them is like, well, if there really was a God, an atheist would say, how come I see so many Christians being like this? Because if there was a real God and they were Christians, then how come they're living like that? They're living like he doesn't exist. And so that's one of the biggest turnoffs. That's why certain atheists are like that. And so how we live is so important. How we live is so important. That's what he was talking about, Pastor Ricky was talking about last week, right? Actually, the next slide had that question. Why is it so important how we live? Well, it's because if you have a bad day and you take it out on somebody, now that person has a bad day. It's infections, like, it's contagious, right? And so I remember I think it was the toll booth lady, right? That kind of snapped at him, and then he had a bad day and took it out on his wife and started complaining, and now they were having I know the same thing too. When I have a bad day, I vent on my wife, or now she has a bad day because I just kind of like spilled everything onto her. And so how we live makes a big difference. You can make somebody's day, or you can ruin somebody's day. Just so how we live, our actions are huge. You know, the actions speak louder than words. I'm pretty sure you've heard that one before. Now, another reason why I believe it's so important for us now, remember, these are the times that try men's souls. How we live is important because the world is trying to erase God at a really quick pace, big time. Okay, the world is trying to erase God at a big pace. So I work at a private school. I was actually on the next slide. I work at a private school, and I see all the time, you know, with different, sometimes legislations or in other countries or what certain politicians believe, like some aren't cool with private education, some aren't cool with homeschooling, like they want everything to be about the state and public, and, you know, they're trying to do their best to erase God. And even if, I'm a big history buff, I love the History Channel. I'm not a buff, I don't know everything. It's fun for me, I'm a nerd, I'm sorry. But I'm a big nerd, I like the History Channel, I like that, my wife hates it, but I love it. And I like reading and stuff like that. And one of the things that I've realized was, especially reading about our early history, us as a country, like God played a huge role. And over the last 50, 80, really last 100 years is when it really started. Like that's starting to kind of like slowly fade away. Slowly fade away, just like I had showed you there. And that's why it's so important that the way we live, we can either allow that to continue, or we can stand and make a difference. Because that's the answer that we need. It's him. We can't forget that. We can't lose sight of that. He's the answer we need. He's the answer everybody needs. But he's being erased from our own history. I'm going to show you something here. we're going to play a little quick game about what founding father said this, okay? Now, a lot of these founding fathers, they're now, if you study them in school or anything, you probably thought that they were either these bad guys or they were these, you know, racist white people and stuff like that. And you know, that's who they were, okay? They didn't even really believe in God. They didn't really believe in that stuff, okay? So we're going to play this game. Who said this, okay? It is impossible to rightly govern a nation without God in the Bible. Politician says that today, they're going to get in trouble. We're going to get in big trouble. So who do you think said this one? Quick game. Say it out loud. Say it out loud. Huh? That one's easy. All right, it was George Washington, yeah. So that was the easy one first. George Washington said this. It's impossible to rightly govern a nation without God and the Bible. First president of the United States. If you're a president, you need the Bible. Next one. Got a couple here. This one. The doctrines of Jesus are simple and tend to all the happiness of man. I am a real Christian, and that is to say, a disciple of the doctrines of Jesus. What about this one? It's not George Washington. Okay, I'll tell you that right now. Anybody? It's a familiar one. It's a familiar one. I hope you guys know more than George Washington. Thomas Jefferson's the answer, okay? Because Jesus cheated. You looked at the computer. Thomas Jefferson is this one. Right? That's what he believed. That's what he said. Check out this next one. This next one, this guy started a school, one of many, I think, and he said that this school should teach the excellency of Christian religion above all others, ancient and modern. He said that in 1749. And the other one, the university he also set up a university. He said it was dedicated to the nursery of religion and the learning built on Christ, the cornerstone, 1787. This guy was the kite guy, okay? So this was his name. Ben Franklin said that one, okay? Normally everyone just thinks of hey, he just flew that kite and got struck by lightning one day, made some glasses. All right, and then the last one. These are actually one of my favorite ones. This next one said, our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. And we recognize no sovereign but God and no king but Jesus. Again, politician says this. He's gonna have some people visiting him at his door. Who said that one? This one, second president of the United States. Hint. First vice president? No? Oh, y'all need to read too. Y'all need to watch the History Channel. What are you doing? Now, all right, next one. This one is actually John Adams. Hey, John Adams said this one. And I love that first quote. Listen to that one. Our Constitution was built for a moral and religious people. They actually were talking about, you know what, if this ever messed up, if this never made it, if our experiment of this United States doesn't, if it collapses at some point, they pointed to that. It's because they probably lost track of their morals and of their sense of God. And you know what? All these people, the majority of the founding fathers, you hear stories of them being missionaries, setting up churches, paying for ministers and stuff like that. George Washington, I didn't know, he established certain churches, more than one. And that was pretty cool. I didn't even know that.